as mentioned, a block or two could be handy. You don't have those. I've got handy pieces of furniture left and right of my mat, or you could grab a pile of books. It's really just to lean on initially. We will begin lying down on the backs. So we'll all join Sammy lying, maybe not on the couch, but on the floor. And I invite you, as you're lying back, to either step your feet down into the ground or to extend your legs out long. Now, whichever pose you're choosing, just have enough shuffles around. I know this may or may not be the first thing you're doing today, so be very kind to yourself and take a moment where you might connect your hands towards your pelvis, the lower abdomen, and just letting them rest there. If it's possible, you can close the eyes, or you might instead choose to steady your gaze. I invite you to connect to the area of the pelvis as you're breathing gently at first. And you might notice that there is a flow of movement happening together with your breaths. May that be subtle or quite strong. As you are feeling that movement of the breath, we're connecting to our base. We often use this space to sustain or support postures, as we use it in the sense of Mula Bandha or root lock to stabilize. It's also our root energy center. I'm looking into not only learning more about ourselves, but also stability to release potential fear. The connection to our base might help us with that as we become more solid, really stable when we stand, when we sit. We're deeply grounded in this moment. Whereas when we're fearful, the mind is often projecting into the future uncertainties and just in general potential ill beliefs that we have about our life, ourselves, and where we stand. As I'd ask you to begin and deepen the breaths and really breathe down into the hands as you rested them onto the lower abdomen towards your pelvis. And when you're breathing out, draw that same lower abdomen in and downwards gently towards your tailbone. With the inhale, expanding the area. And with the exhale, gently activating and drawing down towards the tailbone. If you like, you can extend the breath even further as you begin to breathe from that lower belly up to your ribs and then to your collarbones. And yet still, when you're exhaling, gently activate the belly, draw that in, release the ribs, release the upper chest. So full yogic breathing, if not Ujjayi breath, as you're expanding yourselves on the inhale and gently contracting on the exhale. Staying connected to all that you can find out in the process of breathing about yourself, how you're responding, are you resisting, do you have difficulties breathing this deeply, and just acknowledging, not trying to fix. The practice might set things a little bit more straight for you. Just embarking on an exploration. Allowing yourself now another full 3 deep breaths. Once you've completed those breaths, I'm asking you to have your right foot on the ground, to extend your left leg out, to take a deep breath and to stretch your arms over the head, and then to push down into the right foot so you can roll onto your left-hand side, potentially extending both legs here as you're pushing your hips forward, reaching back with the toes and the fingers over the head as you create your half moon shape. Take one deep breath now to hold and extend. And then as you're breathing out, just flop down onto your back. Taking now your right knee into the chest and give that a good squeeze. Start to move through the right foot, maybe a circular direction. If you're doing that, also go in the other. Then stop the movement of the foot and ankle, and as you're breathing out, lifting your nose towards the knee. And you might take the straight leg just a little bit off the ground, pushing out to the balls of your feet. And then releasing. As you step your right foot down, bring your left foot up. We will extend out through the right leg now, reaching the arms up over the head, deep, full breath. And then stepping onto that left foot so you can roll over onto the right-hand side, and here potentially straightening both legs. Reaching the arms over the head, arching as you move your hips forward, the arms extended, reaching down and backwards with the feet. As we push the hips forward, stay for a deep breath in. And when you're breathing out, just flopping again onto your back, letting everything go. We will from there hug our left knee into the chest. Give that a good squeeze as you're holding on. Starting to move the foot. If you're circling, go a few rounds in one direction and then change. As we inhale, and on the exhale, lifting your nose up towards the knee. And if you like, you can lift the straight leg off the ground and start to press out through the balls of your feet. And then releasing that down as you step your left foot and the right foot down onto the floor, allowing the feet to be at about hip distance. We will take an inhale and just tilt the pelvis to squeeze our hips up into a bridge. And as you're exhaling, rolling back down onto your back. If you like, you can bring your arms in. Please do use both. As you inhale, squeeze the hips, reaching the arms up over the head. And with the out breath, rolling down onto your back and the arms releasing back down by the sides. Practice that in your own pace. Deep, full breath in while lifting arms over the head. And keep the breath full as you're breathing out to release that. Going for one more round. When you complete it, bring both knees into the chest. Give them a good hug and a squeeze. And you might keep them quite close. As we exhale, the nose comes up towards the knees, and you might wrap your arms even further around into a neat bundle. And you could lower the head down while maintaining that. I will ask you to simply release that, and either to rock yourself up or to roll yourself over to the side as we change our direction. Now, if your mat is facing forward with the short end, For today's practice, it might come in handy with the mat being squared like mine. So we come onto all fours, hands are spreading out, knees are at about hip distance apart, and the hands are just out from underneath the shoulders, so avoiding a stacking action here. Let us extend the right leg back and start to lead that extension with your heel. Still finding strength across both of the arms as we're holding. And then with the out breath, draw your knee and nose together underneath. Now, while you're extending your spine, open your knee out towards the side. And then start to push out through the heel again as you're extending the leg sideways. You can stay here, or you could take a breath in and lift the right arm up and find your balance. If that feels good, bend the right knee and take a hold of the foot. Bringing your foot back into the hand. Let's extend the leg again. Let's lower the hand down to the ground, turn the hips to face the floor. And as you're breathing out, draw your nose and knee again together underneath. We'll do that again as we're opening out through the hip. Pressing out through the heel of the foot while the leg extends. Maybe lifting the right arm. Maybe bending the right knee and taking a hold of the foot. Bringing foot into the hand. And please do listen to those maybes, as that could be your option. As we're extending out into the leg again, hand comes down, hips are facing down. And as you're breathing out, draw your knee again under. Then release the knee down and stretch your hips back for an extended child's pose. As you keep yourself extended, the head might rest on the floor, or you're focusing more on length in the spine than the rounded release of the shape. In that case, let your shoulders open, create some space behind the upper back. And with your next breath in, let's come back onto all fours. Make sure your hands are slightly under and out. And we're extending out through the left heel. So stretch the whole left leg out and back. And with the exhale from there, draw your nose and knee together underneath the body. We'll start to open the knee out to the side from there. Extending back into the heel, the leg stays open, and the left arm might lift all the way up towards the ceiling. Ignore my arm, practice yours. Maybe bending the left knee and taking a hold of the foot, pushing the foot into the hand. And as you extend back out through your leg, landing your foot back down, turning your hips down and out breath as you draw your knee and nose together underneath. Deeply rounding through the back before we open the knee once more to the side. Pressing out through the heel. And with the breath in, that left arm might extend up towards the ceiling, reaching with your fingertips. If it feels right for you, bend the knee, catch the foot once more and bring the foot into the hand. As we release that, the heel extends back. We're placing the hand back down, turn the hips towards the floor and out breath as the knee and nose meet again underneath. Lowering the knee back to the mat and once more extending into a child's pose. Same choice here, you could rest the forehead to the floor, you could leave it off the ground and extend right up through to the ground of the head. Wide shoulders, broad upper back in that case. Next, inhale, let's rise back up onto all fours. We'll tuck the toes under, first down the dog or Ardha Mukha Svanasana. As the knees come off the ground, you might want to start moving, pedaling out through the legs, arms, hips might move. As I invite you to keep that going for a little bit, the movement through the body, to find out how you're feeling there. And then take the feet for a walk to the front end of the mat. Allowing yourself just to be in the forward fold. Allowing then the knees to soften so the upper body can hang down completely. Then let the hands slide up to shins or thighs and lengthen your spine forward into a half lift. Flatten out your back just as we did in all four stands. And when you're breathing out, soften the knees again and let the body fold forward. We'll only do that one more time. Breathe in, lengthen the spine forward. Breathing out as you release. Allowing yourself to use the lower belly and curling up slowly into standing on and out breaths. Let your shoulders roll back a bit and opening the palms of the hands towards the front. You don't have to face me if you're feeling comfortable the way you are at the moment. I just wanted to make the visual easier for you. Please do move both arms. As we inhale, lifting the arms up, extend your mountain. And with the out breath, sit that down into a chair pose. On the inhale, lifting the arms, maybe the hips come forward, like that half moon shape we practice on our sides. With the out breath, go back into the chair. Use your feet, push the floor away, breathe in, open. Exhaling, chair and hold your chair. I recommend to cross the thumbs, keep the palms touching, the arms extended forward. They could be around your ears, but you could also keep the shoulders down, the elbows a little bit soft to help you align the body. Allow the sit bones now to open wide and use your lower abs. Inhale. Exhale, twist this chair to the right. Have a look down what your knees are doing. If they're coming out of balance, draw them in. On the inhale, extend your chair forward. And on the out breath, twist your chair to the other side. Again, have a look down towards your knees rather than twisting, just so you know how it feels when they are aligned. And then go again. Inhale, extending forward. Exhale, twist your chair to the right. Inhale, extending forward. Exhale, twisting your chair to the left. Go once more to each side. As you inhale, chair. Twisted chair on the out breath. I invite you after this last one to push back into the feet and rise, uplifting both arms. And then for a moment, let the arms circle out and return back down by your sides. I'd also invite you to widen your stance. Now we will go from here then backwards into another shape. So I might ask you to do that at the front of the mat, so a wider stance. I'll also invite you to lift the arms back up, both of them. Maybe finding Charlie's Angels Mudra, so fingers interlaced, index finger pointing up. Take a deep breath in and then chop wood. As you breathe out, swing the arms through, big breath out. Inhale, lifting the arms and Ha. 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 Go for 3 more. Ha. 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 And after the third, come back into chair pose, bringing your hands together at the heart. With your next out breath, then fold over your thighs, release the hands down, lower the head. As we come into our standing forward bend, the feet could still be further apart if you enjoy that. Leaning the weight slightly forward in your feet. And even if the fingers aren't touching the floor, let your shoulders lightly lift away from your ears and bring space around your neck. Now, let's lift up onto the fingertips or hands to shins for a half lift. Inhale. And as you're exhaling, then let your right foot step back into a lunge. Planting the hands down firmly. As you step the left foot back as well. Now, downward facing dog. I will ask you to bend both knees, to then open your left knee out towards the side and squeeze your hips up and back for a twisted downward dog. Now we've done that before. Lower the right knee to the floor. Reach up to the sky with the left hand and extend your left leg out long. If that works for you, bend the left knee and take a hold of the left foot as you encourage the foot back into your hand. We will release that by extending the leg, placing the hands back down, turning the hips towards the floor. Now you can stay exactly here on all fours, or you could have your right toes tucked under. Lift the right knee and leave the left leg floating in the air. And with the next out breath, then draw the knee in towards your nose. And we'll place the foot forward in between the hands. Now keeping your right hand fingertips on the ground. Maybe the right knee as well. We will turn towards the left knee, lifting the left arm again to point towards the ceiling. Going into a deeply twisted lunge. We will swing that arm back and down onto the mat. And we'll take our foot back into downward dog. Let's take an inhale, roll your spine forward as we come through our first flow. Knees come to the ground if you want that support. And with the out breath, keep your elbows by your sides and lower down onto the mat. With an in-breath, lift the head and the chest. We'll keep it a cobra, whether you're using the hands to extend further or lifting them off the floor to work more strongly into your back. Then release that down onto the mat. Take an inhale as you come up. Tuck your toes, downward dog. You're always welcome to keep your knees on the ground. If you find downward dogs are a little bit challenging today, maybe just keeping it a puppy shape. Toes tucked under, hips stretching up and back. With the next in-breath now, lift your right leg. On the exhale, bring the foot forward and lower the back heel to the ground. Let your hands come in between the feet and start to move the body gently forward and back. Creating a bit more space now in the legs and hips. We will then inhale and let the upper body relax towards the mat. Engaging lower belly as we're breathing out, curling up to standing. And as you're inhaling, let both arms extend out to shoulder height. Turn your gaze to the right hand as you bend your right knee for warrior two. Hold here, feel the arches of your feet lifted, strength in your foundation. Maybe the lower belly is lightly on. Gaze is very steady. You know where you're going here. I will ask you with your next inhale to lift your back heel and the arms up towards the ceiling. And with the out breath, just stepping forward into a forward bend. On the inhale, lengthen the spine again. On the out breath, fold. Wait here. Wait for the out breath as you're slowly curling the body up. Take an inhale, you can stay the way you're facing and lift the arms, your gaze. Open through the front, widen your stance a little, interlace the hands in a different way. So we're back to Charlie's Angels and go for a chop. Few more, breath in. 3 more from here, keep chopping wood. And once you have completed your last one, you will stand up tall one more time, taking a deep breath in, opening, and we will end this in a chair pose. The hands can be at the heart. Again, widen your sit bones, use the lower belly muscles as strength. Inhale here. And exhale. When your next out breath comes, fold back over the thighs, let your hands release towards the mat. Stance could stay wider if you choose to. Otherwise, hands underneath the shoulders, shoulders lifted, active in their sockets. With your next inhalation, find a half lift again as you're breathing in. And then we will step the left foot back, planting the hands down onto the ground. Then we will bring our left knee down to the mat, extending the right leg back. Lifting the right arm up towards the ceiling. If you like, you can bend the knee, catch the foot, and bring the foot back into the hand as we're opening the body. To release that, extend the leg, bring the hand back down, turn the hips towards the floor, and either stay here or tuck your left toes under, lifting the knee off the ground for a downward dog. And as we breathe out, we're bringing the knee in towards the nose before landing the foot forward between the hands. Keeping your left hand now underneath the shoulder. And with the breath in, lifting the right arm for a twisted lunge. Let us swing that arm back and down. Step the foot back into downward dog. Bending both knees. And opening the right knee out to the side while we're squeezing the hips back. We will straighten this down dog back out and take an inhale as we roll the spine forward again into a plank or a kneeling plank. And with the out breath then landing onto the mat. We'll keep it a cobra for now. As you breathe in, wave up through the upper body. Keep shoulders down, hands can be on or off the mat. With the next exhale, lower the head. On the inhale, come back onto your knees. Tuck the toes under your choice, the puppy or a full downward facing dog. If you need to move this dog, please do. If you find it's better to keep it still, keep it still. Let's inhale, lifting the left leg. On the out breath, spring the left foot forward. Lower the right heel and take your hands between the feet and then start to rock the body forward and backwards. Bringing a bit more mobility into the legs and hips on this side. As you next inhale, let the upper body relax towards the mat as if you're collapsing the shape. Use your inner strength as you're breathing out. We're rolling up into standing and both arms will extend out to shoulder height on the inhale. Returning the gaze towards the left hand at the front and bringing a bend into the left knee for warrior two. When we rise up from the center, we're hopefully standing very centered as well. So feel the foundation of this shape with the feet on the ground. Strengthen your legs. That light support of the lower belly to keep you strong. And the determination in your gaze forward over the left hand. With the next inhale, lifting the back heel, reach the arms up. With the exhale, step the foot forward. Take a half lift on your in-breath. And fold down on the out breath. Now stay there for the length of your in-breath and then slowly curling yourself back up into standing as you're breathing out. Let the shoulders roll back as we're opening the palms of the hands. Let us pause for a moment. Feeling the feet on the ground, and if you're not too sure how you're positioned over your feet, you can rock a little bit, getting in contact with the feet on the ground. With the next inhale, lifting both arms up. With the exhale, come back into a chair pose. Inhale in your chair. Exhale, fold down to Uttanasana, forward bend. On an in-breath, come to a half lift. We will start by stepping our left foot back. We will keep our left hand fingertips on the ground. And as you take an inhale, lifting the right arm back into our twisted lunge where we were before. I will encourage you now to pull the right hip a little bit back while you're in this stance and to use more your feet than you're using your fingers on the ground. We will release this shape by bending into the back knee, swinging the upper arm back and down, and then we will lower the heel. We'll take a big breath. The left arm reaches all the way over the head and we're lifting up for warrior two as we come to settle ourselves into that shape. Still encouraging you to use both of your arms as you look over towards your right hand fingertips. While we inhale now to straighten our front leg, find a new center in this stance. Notice how that shifts and changes. And then as you're breathing out, reach with the right hand down, with the left hand up. So we're in Trikonasana, triangular shape. There's many triangles within this shape. One is built by the legs. One is the front leg, the lower arm, the side of the waist. And then there's more open ones with the upper arm, the side of the waist, and the line down to the hip. Now let's take a bend into our front knee. And take the lower arm all the way up to an exalted warrior shape. So when the knee is bent at the front, keep the knee guiding over the toes rather than collapsing it in. The left hand is just loosely touching the back leg. We will come out by bending our left knee, rolling the upper arm backwards and down, and then swinging the hands to either side of the foot, where we're lifting our back heel. Now with the hands planted down, take your right knee into the chest and land the right knee behind the right wrist. If this is too much for your knee or your hip, please roll onto your back and create a figure 4. Otherwise, we're in a half pigeon pose as you untug your left toes and rise up onto your fingertips and beginning to open the front body while the hips are settling. With an out breath, then come forward. You might rest upon your forearms, or extend the arms and rest the forehead down. Finding a moment of stillness. Working with a lot of strength around our pelvis to allow us to feel strong and steady. But without ease, there is not even a yoga posture. So allowing whatever you're feeling here needs to be released to find ease within the physical body. Maybe allowing some kind thoughts towards yourself and where you're at. If you're getting caught up in any emotions or thoughts that arise, notice them. Try not to dive deep into why they're there or what that means, just noticing. But from there, step up onto our hands. Open again through the chest, maybe rolling the eye gaze up. And then roll over to sit onto the right side of the hip, taking your left leg out and placing it against your right foot. Come onto your fingertips as you're lengthening and flex through the left ankle so the toes are facing up. You can have a bend in the left knee as you're folding forward. Your hands just aligning by the side of the leg unless you can really comfortably catch your foot. Lower your nose down towards the knee. Finding stillness for 2 more breaths. When you completed those breaths, curl yourself back up into sitting. Take your fingertips behind your back and step your feet up in front of you. Find the space between the sit bones and lengthen your spine. while you keep your fingertips down, you might choose to lift your feet off the floor. You might choose now to lift the hands off the ground as well, finding a boat shape. And if you want to extend it, extend your legs. Maybe the arms extending over the head. And you can come back one step or another step, whatever is right for you. Even your fingertips could be on the ground or your feet too. And then we'll bend the knees and we'll step the feet down at about hip distance onto the mat. We'll bring our hands behind us, the fingers usually here pointing forward, or you could come up onto the fists as I will be demonstrating an upward facing tabletop. So we're starting to squeeze into the buttocks muscles and lifting our hips up. Your gaze could either be towards your knees or you can start to lift the chin and guide your head back. See if you can stay here, 2 breaths. And when you complete it, push your hips forward, swing them a little bit to the right, touch the knees together and let them go over to the left. As you bring the back of your right hand against the outside of the knee, leaving the fingertips behind you and then deepening into a twist. The shoulders relaxed. As we slide our hand back down, bring the other hand towards the mat, lift your hips up, tuck your toes, and come into downward dog. Now you figured out why I ask you to have your mat in a different form than usual. Soften the knees, reach the tailbone up and back. And if you like, can you embark here on a vinyasa as we inhale to come forward, plank or kneeling plank on the out-breaths, lower on or towards the mat. Breathe in, lift up, cobra or up dog now. And on the out-breaths, find your way to puppy or downward facing dog. Taking a deep, full breath in through the nose. Allow a soft sigh to escape your mouth, relaxing the jaw, the facial muscles. With the next breath in from here, lifting your right leg. On the out breath, take the foot between the hands. We will lift our left leg off the ground, and as we do, we're flexing the foot. Now it could be handy to have something underneath the right hand, maybe a piece of furniture, maybe a block, a stack of books. As we embark into a half moon, let your left shoulder come back. Hand can be in the side of the waist to start with. If you want to extend the left arm to the ceiling, you could. Keep pressing out through the ball of the left foot or even through the heel. And then as you step your feet next to each other, let the body fold forward. We will slide our right foot back and keep our left hand fingertips down as we're exploring this shape to the other side. The right hand could start in the side of the waist. Again, engage out into the heel or the ball of the foot so the leg is engaged. Roll the right shoulder back, and if it works for you, maybe lifting the right arm. Landing the foot down, the arm down as we soften back into a forward fold. Take a half lift while you're inhaling. And we will step the left foot back. No, it's entirely wrong. We'll step the right foot back. I'm sorry. Let your right hand be underneath your shoulder and take a deep breath as you lift your left arm up towards the ceiling as we come back into our twisted lunge. While the left arm might be extended, encourage the left side of the hip a little bit backwards, centering yourself again, feeling more supported by legs rather than fingertips on the floor. As we bend the back knee, swing the arm down, lower the heel, and take your right arm all the way across for a warrior two. So bending into the front knee, grounding again, feel yourself centered. Oftentimes when we come up this way, we have a tendency to lean a little bit forward. Can you ground and allow yourself to be strong there? Gaze over your left hand fingertips. With the next inhale, then straighten the left leg. Find your inner strength balance once more as the weight shifts. And with the out breath, then extending into a triangle. Connect in your mind with the different triangles within this shape. Your legs, the side waist, the arms. We will change this again as we bring a bend into the front knee, an exalted warrior. The left arm reaches up and over the head, while the right hand comes to gently rest against the back leg. In your mind's eye, watch the front knee. Encourage that to stay aligned with your toes. And then we'll change from there. As we bend the back knee, let the upper arm roll back and down, and then swirl the arms around so you can place the hands back down either side of the front foot. Lift your back heel. And then tuck your left knee into the chest. And land the left knee behind the left wrist. Again, the option of rolling onto your back if that's required for knees or hips. Otherwise, untuck the back toes, slide the right leg back, and come to your fingertips so you can open the front body. Rolling the eye gaze up towards the third eye point. Breath in. And with the exhale, then lower. Descend down onto your forearms or even the forehead and extend the arms forward. Connect once more with the inner stillness. A part that, when we are fearful, is challenging to come to. And if you are challenged with any form of stillness, acknowledge that too. It's okay to be challenged here. Inviting yourself back into that still part of yourself, the connection to this very moment. After your next out breath, come back up onto your hands as we're extending our body. And then roll over onto the left side. Slide the right leg out and place the leg against the sole of the left foot. Come to your fingertips. You might choose to bend the right knee a little. Take a deep breath in from there. And when you're breathing out, lean over the right leg. Rest your hands either by the sides of the leg, or if you're comfortable, you can take a hold of the foot, lowering the nose down towards the knee. One more breath. From where you will roll yourself back to a seated shape. Change the sequence a little. Again to touch. Taking your hands behind. Swinging your feet across. Placing the back of the left hand against the knee, right hand behind. And go into a twist. I'm hoping that that's on the other side. Let the hand from the front drift behind your back. Step your feet out in front of you. Maybe finding another hip distance stance here. If you would like to increase the strength, you could extend the legs out and bring them together instead and point out your toes for an upward facing plank. Hands are the same, either fists or fingertips pointing forward. Let's lift off the ground, squeeze the buttocks muscles. Gaze could be forward or you can allow the head back. See if you can stay in this back bend for 2 full breaths. Please feel free to release that earlier if you need to. If your legs are long, maybe the toes are touching the ground. And then gently release your hips towards the floor. Step the feet back down onto the mat. Fingertips can rest behind as you find the space between the sit bones. And lifting the feet off the floor. Maybe the hands. We won't extend fully this time, but maybe we can sink the boat slowly. And if you need to grab anything on the way to keep yourself warm, please do so. As you release down onto the mat. I will invite you to use a happy baby here to find a light inversion. So you could bring your knees up and hug them in towards your shoulders. Before you lift your ankles over your knees and might take a grip of the backs of the thighs. If you're feeling comfortable here, you could stay, or you could catch the outer edges of the feet while your arms on the inside of your knees. In any case, let your knees come down towards the shoulders with the help of your hands. If you feel more like rocking, you could, otherwise feel welcome to stay still. As you allow your feet to come together again, then towards the mat. And if you feel you need to rock the knees a little bit from side to side to release any tension, do so. If you're happy to come straight into Shavasana, then please do that. If you're in Shavasana, allow the arms to open, the palms to face upwards. Legs can either be long or you can keep your feet stepped onto the ground. Do invite yourself into this resting shape. Even if at home, oftentimes there are a lot of distractions. They're just like thoughts that interrupt your practice. Let these distractions be part of your journey into a relaxed state of being. Observe how the body starts to sink into the mat. And even if it's just a physical body, letting go. Noticing the gentle openness that you have created for the part of the body facing the ceiling. You might keep your awareness with your breath. Or you could focus for a little while and maybe even envision it an owl. In this case, it's a card from an animal deck and it's a masked owl. As that owl came up for this practice today, it's a sign that you have come to a significant place on your journey. Take this moment as a great blessing, for owl comes with an invitation to awaken your senses and see with fearless clarity into hidden places and to experience your world in a whole new way. Create new opportunities. These opportunities cannot be accessed by a normal worldly way of seeing. Trust your intuition, but don't be limited by past perceptions. You cannot reach where this path leads by doing more of what you got here. If there is an unknown space between where you currently are and where you want to be, owl's insight and silent wisdom will help guide your passage. Owl calls for you to quiet your mind by slowing down your senses. Become a silent observer. Listen with your inner ear and see with eyes that look within. Remove yourself from the noise of life and come to a place of darkness, where your eyes can turn inward for a time. Give yourself a chance to breathe deeply and find peace in the shadows and silence in the inner cave of your being. Allow your fears to rise to the surface and see them for what they really are. Windows to new possibilities. As your eyes adjust, you will come to realize that from this place of deep stillness, both shadow and light can be seen, and the power of both can be embraced, healed, and woven together to fuel your higher path. Enlightenment is my power to see light in unexpected places. This begins as I discover light deeply within myself. keeping the light you might have found within as you begin to deepen your breath and start to move the body. If you would like to stay rather here where you are right now, and you've got the time to, feel free to do exactly that. Otherwise, join me in a seated shape. Where we might choose to touch our hands together in front of the heart space and bow our head very lightly towards the heart. We'll finish our practice with the chant of Om. Let's inhale and exhale first. Then inhaling for an Om. Om. The Om having brought us all together, extending to each other. Namaste.